It was supposed to be just another quiet night shift. The hospital parking lot was silent, the air cool, and Nurse Elena Ward was almost done with her rounds. Then, without warning, the roar of an engine split the stillness. A biker came speeding out of the darkness, his leather jacket glinting under the pale streetlight. The next thing she knew, her body slammed to the pavement. Pain exploded through her side, but when she saw him striding toward her with a sneer, she realized this wasn't an accident. It was the beginning of something far more dangerous. And that's when she noticed the broken leg of a wooden chair lying just inches from her trembling hand. Elena Ward wasn't just a nurse, she was the kind of person who stayed late to hold a frightened patient's hand, who skipped her own breaks to make sure a lonely old man had company. That night, she had been walking to her car after double overtime. Her scrubs were creased, her hair messy, but there was a quiet pride in her chest. She had made it through another day of saving lives. The first sign of trouble was the deep rumble of an approaching engine. It didn't belong to any of the hospital staff she knew. This one was raw, almost angry. She turned toward the noise, shielding her eyes from the sudden beam of a headlight. The biker didn't slow down. His tires screeched as he swerved toward her, and before she could even step aside, his shoulder caught hers, sending her crashing to the ground. The cold concrete scraped her palms, her vision swam, and for a second the only thing she could hear was her own ragged breathing. She tried to stand, but a sharp sting shot up her leg. That's when she heard footsteps, heavy, unhurried. The man's boots stopped just inches away. "You watch where you're going, nurse," he said, his voice dripping with mockery. His eyes, hidden beneath the shadow of his helmet visor, felt like they were drilling into her. But it wasn't just him. She spotted two more figures emerging from the darkness, both wearing biker vests with snarling wolf emblems on the back. One of them kicked over a wooden chair that was leaning against a wall, its legs snapping off and clattering across the ground. And there it was, lying right by her hand. The jagged, splintered leg of the chair. She could feel her pulse pounding in her ears. The part of her that had spent years calming violent patients whispered, "Don't escalate this, stay calm." But another part of her, the one that had faced loss, exhaustion, and injustice, whispered something else entirely. "No one puts you on the ground and walks away." Her fingers curled around the broken chair leg before she had time to think. The wood was rough, and splinters bit into her skin, but in her mind, it felt like a lifeline. She pushed herself to her feet, her injured leg trembling but refusing to give out. The biker tilted his head, almost amused. "What's that supposed to be, nurse? Your little magic wand?" She didn't answer, her eyes locked on his. Years of watching people in pain had taught her one truth: fear and arrogance could both be broken. The second biker moved in, reaching for her arm, but Elena stepped back just enough, letting his hand swipe air, then swung the chair leg hard into his ribs. The sound was sickening, a dull thud followed by his gasp. He doubled over, cursing. The first biker lunged, but Elena wasn't the fragile figure they thought she was. She sidestepped, slamming the wood against his helmet with a crack that made him stumble. The third man hesitated, clearly rethinking his choices. For a moment, the only sound was Elena's labored breathing and the faint hum of the hospital's generator. "You think nurses just take orders," she said, her voice low but steady. "We fight for people's lives every day. Tonight, that includes my own." The leader cursed, muttered something to his crew, and with a final glare, they backed off. Their engines roared as they sped away into the night, leaving Elena standing alone, the broken chair leg still clutched in her hand. She sank to her knees, every muscle shaking, not from fear anymore, but from the realization of what had just happened. Later, sitting in the quiet staff lounge, she thought about the patients she'd seen who believed they had no strength left. If she could stand back up after being knocked down like that, maybe they could too. And maybe that was the message she'd carry forward, not just in the hospital, but in life. You are stronger than they think.